What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I've already did, unfortunately, the lineup builds for the overnight slates. So we're not going to be able to watch that live, but I will go over what I did, why I did it, and I'll give you an idea who my exposures are. I'm probably going to lock this. Well, I'm going to lock this up and release the video probably about 4 a.m. This way. I mean, you'll still have an idea of who I'm playing golf. That could change, but I think I'm pretty well locked in. But we're going to go over the LCK LOL exposures as well as the PGA exposures, both on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Round One Showdown. Uh, for those of you who were sweating tonight, very, very bad night. DFS for us tonight. We are threatening to hang on in the FanDuel monster, which would mitigate losses a little bit, but overall, not a very good day across the board. Okay, but big slates coming up in golf. A couple of chances to win $1 million, which is always fun. And I'm going to go over who we're going to be rooting for as far as that goes. But first, let's get into the freaking LOL, which is again, this has become a real pain in the neck for me. I mean, I'm on a little bit of a losing streak here. Um, and listen, it's good to be on a losing streak in LOL when you're killing it in the other sports, but this really does annoy me. So I'm trying to get back on the stick here, trying to figure out what I don't say doing wrong. I think I'm putting myself in good positions, but we're gonna try to attack this. So I'm just gonna go over a couple of things. I really felt as though the AL NIP matchup was just too juicy to overcome. You have AL with such a big advantage over them, and NIP likes to boost up the kills. So it's a pretty good recipe for a big score out of AL. And also this last match between WE and Thunder Talk, I thought was one that was really important to target. So as a result, something's got to give, and I just am ending up lower on the other two big favorites, Hanwha and T1. Hopefully, just T1 puts up one of their patented, 13-6, 18-5, two-game sweeps, whatever, and just don't make the optimal. This bro does tend to play slow, and hopefully that works out that way. And the HLE, I have some of them because I mean KT roster can push them a little bit sometimes. I actually am surprised I don't have a couple of shares of KT roster, but I don't. So this is the big exposure. So as you can see right here, so we have 82% of AL. But what's I think more interesting, I mean, you look at the exposure in that last game, we have 56% Thunder Talk, which is pretty big, obviously, and as an underdog, and 25% of WE. But even when you look at the four-man stacks there, let's see. Again, it's AL and then Thunder Talk. Thunder Talk is the idea is that whoever wins this one, we want as our four-man stack. So this is if AL wins, we're just definitely going to have a sweat in this last game. So that's what we have over here in the Triumphant Warrior specifically. May as well get that one up. How do we actually see what the? Yeah, so what we could do is look at the Triumphant Warrior lineup. And I believe in that one we have, WE actually with the four-man and AL is the three-man. And again, it's a little more chalky, but it's got our favorite monkey and the captain, which we like. So yeah. So in MME, we have more Thunder Talk actually. But in the Triumphant Warrior, we have more WE. And those are really the two key games that we're going to be sweating in the LOL slate. Okay. PGA, I guess we'll start and we'll build up to the big one in a minute. So in let's first do Showdown. So again, all I did was I put my projections in, I ran the sims, but I used actually Ace Mine sims for this one because for whatever reason I couldn't get SaberSim to take my custom ownerships to build the contest fields. So I ended up having to I end up having to go to Ace Mind, have them sim these for me. Um, Again, it doesn't, I'd say it doesn't matter, but if you're going to use your own ownership projections, I mean, there's not too much of a difference between what SaberSim will do and what any simulator will do, because you're creating your own contest fields. Anyway, so what we ended up here, very, very surprising actually, um, is like zero Scotty Scheffler. More, most importantly, if I'm not mistaken, it's literally zero. Zero Bryson DeChambeau. We got like a very big stand in the showdown on John Rahm, like 74%. And again, it's really tough to play this way, but I ran it for 3 or 4 different times, and this is what I ended up with each time. So I'm very confident in this. And hey, at least we know what we're rooting for, right? Rooting for John Rahm to have a nice day. If he does, we're going to be in business. If not, hey, maybe we get lucky with some of these other combinations. But definitely, we have no Scheffler. Do we have any Rory? Let me just see. It doesn't even look like we have any Rory at all, right? So we interesting result over there. All right, so let's look at FanDuel, and then we'll move up to DraftKings. So in the FanDuel Classic slate, we are playing. Oh, before I get into that, let me show you what I do have in the showdown signature hole on DraftKings here. Specifically, let's see. Oh, did I get rid of that? Let me just see. Round one PGA. See, in the signature hole, we have this. So this is again, no this one doesn't even have ROM. How funny, how cool is that? So we have 75% ROM in the MME, but we do not have him in the signature hole. Let's go. We don't have any of those top guys in the signature hole. We shall see how this turns out. All right, let's look at the FanDuel main slate. We're playing one lineup in the Monster there and 100 in the Eagle, which is the MME. We just essentially uploaded our projections, ran these, and what we did is we used actually for this one, we did use the SaberSim contest fields because I actually was not very confident in my ownerships on FanDuel. I was pretty confident in DraftKings, but something about the FanDuel numbers I was coming up with did not sit well with me. So I just went with the SaberSim contest field. And this is what we ended up with after all was said and done. This is literally the first time I'm actually looking at it. So actually 47% DeChambeau, 43% McIlroy, 32% Scheffler. Looks like a pretty normal distribution. Notably, I don't have too much of John Rahm on FanDuel. I actually I'm not even sure what I have of him on DraftKings. We're gonna look at that in a minute. But 47% DeChambeau, 43% Rory, 32% Scheffler, and yeah. I will say, let's take a look and see where I'm ahead of ownership here. Yeah, so I am ahead of my Rory projection as far as ownership goes, and I'm well below Scheffler. I have Corey Connors 30 compared to my 13. I think that is a pretty decent amount of leverage as well. Okay. Um, let's go to DraftKings. And I guess we will start with just overall exposure here. Okay. Then we'll get into what we're playing in the big ones and all this stuff. But we're really sending it. We're playing one in the 44. Hope we get lucky. We're playing two 150 sets, 150 in the Millie Maker, another 150 in the Drive the Green, and three single entries and 120 max. And interestingly, what we're doing, I'll show you with respect to the contest fields. What we decided on was this. In the 44, I went with the high stakes MME field from SaberSim. I just trust their ability to build that field more than me. Um, so it's like, even though I like my ownerships better for the lottery, they really are just designed for the lottery. And as a result, I think I did wise by going with the SaberSim fields for high stakes MMA. It was my best choice. And then you'll see what I did for these three other NME contests: the Millie Maker, the Drive the Green, and there was one other I did it for one of the single entries. Actually, I'm not going to do that for the other single entry to prove my point here. Let's move that back to uh, flagship single entry. Um, so I used two different contest fields that I created at different points of the day to represent what I thought the field was going to do. I thought that was kind of sharp, actually, creating multiple fields for different contests, not just running the same field throughout. Um, so I thought that was a decent shot. And then what I'm going to do here, and what I did actually, I actually used another one of my own personal contest fields for one of the single entries, and the rest I just used the high stakes single entry metric from the a field from SaberSim. And this is what we ended up with after all that. So across the board, we have what, 305 lineups. We do have max 39% of Rory McIlroy as the highest owned, followed by 36% Bryson DeChambeau, then 33% Keith Mitchell. Um, you'll see he's going to end up actually pretty chalky. We're gonna probably get slightly over the field on him, but not that much. I mean, you'll see in the big buy-ins he's probably pretty expensive. I mean, pretty well owned. Daniel Berger, I think that was actually pretty good. Pretty good shot as far as getting a little overweight there. Not too thrilled about my exposure to both these chalky cheapos, like between Mitchell and Mackenzie Hughes, but we'll just see. That's literally across all the contests. If we look at the individual contests and what we have here, so like you want to see who we have in the just in the like in the Millie Maker, like the 150 max, we'll uncheck all these. And this is our exposure here. So you get 40% McIlroy, 30% uh, 38% DeChambeau, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Then just want to see something. These were the lineups we actually built. I was accessing them from the contest here. Let's see something. Yeah, so 24%. Yeah, I wasn't sure what I want to do with Keith Mitchell's ownership projection here. SaberSim has him at like 28%, 24% or something like that. And I had him at 16. So again, it just depends what you think. And I didn't think Mitchell was going to end up being as chalky in the lottery as maybe SaberSim believed. So in any case, let's go ahead and take a look at the various single entries. Then we'll look and see who we have in actually the big buy-in. So let's just do this. So in the driver, we have McIlroy. You see it over there. Do have McIlroy and Thomas together. Well, it's just McIlroy again. McIlroy by himself, as far as like whether I have two 10K guys or not. And this looks pretty solid. It does look chalky, but for a single entry, this is really all you need. Then you have 100K driver. looks pretty similar. Okay, except we put Berger, Straka in there. And then in the par four, again, McIlroy, Berger again, Hughes. I mean, these are like the key guys. And then the driver over here again, McIlroy, Cantlay, Connors, Puig again. Now we get Mitchell. Uh, in this MME in the drive to green. Take a look at more of that. This one, we have more actually of Keith Mitchell than anybody. Like we're 44% Keith Mitchell as opposed to 36% Rory in this one. And then so far, I mean, I might change it, but this is what I'm rolling with in the Mega Millie Maker up here. I think this is pretty cool. You know, I'm playing Rory. And then getting a little bit different, I think, underneath. Um, you know, I'm getting I have Rory projected at 39% ownership in this particular tournament. And then Berger, I have him getting some ownership, but then and then these other guys, I have sub 10%. So I think this is a pretty aggressive way to play this tournament. And I think this is what I'm going to stick with, or at least something like it. Okay. I can't really promise you I'm going to play anything. But I mean, by the time you see this, it'll be an hour to post. I mean, listen, somebody could drop out. I doubt that a huge projection update is going to come in. So it's going to be interesting to see what I end up doing. But this is something like what I like doing these types of contests is to play a little chalky, but then take a couple of really low owned shots. And this is what I kind of like. So that's the deal for the overnights. Tomorrow, got a bunch going on, but I'm gonna get the MMA videos up and we'll do the normal bunch of content. And hopefully you guys learn something and hopefully we take something down. Good luck, everybody.